It's Not a Boy. Chapter 6, The Beautiful Rose, Part 2. Then, when I got to bed, I heard Mum's sewing machine start up. Rattle, rattle it went, and then it got into top speed, and off it set. Rrrr. I listened, hoping that it was my dress she was making and not her costume. I didn't want her to make her costume first. I thought it was only fair if she did my dress first, because I'd been the last to choose the material. And it was important to me that I had a lovely dress if I was going to look beautiful. I put my hand in my mattress crack and brought out my lucky charm bracelet, and I fitted my farthing between my front teeth, and I could feel it comforting on my gum. I fell asleep to dream about being very beautiful indeed. The next day I couldn't wait to see if Mum had been able to make my ordinary cotton into a lovely dress to make me beautiful. The first thing I did was look in her wardrobe. Mothballs rolled out as I scrabbled in her skirts and dresses and old costumes. She'd made them all from remnants, and then suddenly there it was, my dress, hanging right next to Dad's best black suit. She had made my dress first, and she had worked hard, and it did look lovely. It even had frills round the neck and frills round the bodice. I was very pleased. There was still a long way to go before I would look beautiful, but Mum had given me a good start with this dress, and guess what? It was going to be long. I had never had a long dress before, and it would nearly touch my shoes. My shoes! Oh, I'd only just thought of them. I'd no nice shoes. On our farm I wore my wellies, and they weren't no good for a bridesmaid, of course. And then I had my school shoes, those lace-ups Dad brought from Ringham. They would be no good for a bridesmaid either. And nobody had thought about my shoes. I was very worried. But I needn't have worried, because next week Mum and me were on our bus again. But this time we were not going to Ripsey, we were going in the opposite direction to Hull. And I was going for another hospital checkup again, and Mum said that we could look for some bridesmaids' shoes while we were there in Hull. As you know, we didn't buy clothes from shops except knickers. And my red coat, of course, which I didn't want to think about just now. I'd never ever been into a shoe shop to choose my shoes, because, as I've said, Dad just brought them for us kids from our cobblers in Ringham. We tried them on at home and stood on a piece of newspaper, probably Uncle Sid's Hull Daily Mail or News of the World, to keep them clean. If they didn't seem to fit, Dad took them back and brought the next size up for us. Going to a shoe shop was all new to me. There were white boxes lined all round the walls, and we sat down on a chair. Then out came a smart lady in high-heeled shoes, tiptoeing all over the shop as she brought shoes for me to try on. "Try the navy ones. They're very serviceable and won't show the dirt," said Mum, and I was disappointed that she'd said that, because I had been hoping for some little satin slippers like Auntie Cecily wore. "We have these, madam, which are in fashion." Mum looked impressed, and I must say that when I got them on I liked them. They had a little pattern of petals on the front, and you could see my white socks through the petal holes. But then Mum saw the price, and I had to take them off because they were too dear. I sat there swinging my feet in my socks, hoping that Mum would afford something that would make me look beautiful. I just hoped that she wouldn't decide I had to go and be a bridesmaid in my lace-ups after all. "Have you anything cheaper?" asked Mum. "Not in that range, madam." And she went tiptoeing to her shelves and climbed a little wooden ladder and started pulling at the white boxes and bringing them down and looking inside and moving the tissue paper. "Perhaps these sandals might serve your purpose, madam. They're very reasonably priced. They're in the sale because they're very small and there is not much demand for this size." I tried them on, and they had peep toes. And guess what? They fitted me because I had little feet, and I thought that they looked lovely, even though they weren't satin slippers. I was very pleased with them, and even more pleased when Mum bought them. Then we set off home with Mum carrying the bag on and put it on her knee when we got onto the bus. I sat on our bus and wondered what everybody at home would think when I put my shoes on. What would my sisters say? What would Grandma next door say? Maybe nobody would even recognise me because I would look so beautiful with them on, changed into a beauty in a flash. But when we walked down our lane, nobody asked about my shoes, and nobody was interested, because they were all crowding round a van in our yard. It was our new van. Uncle Sid and my dad took it in turns to sit in the driving seat. Our dads were the only ones that could drive. All the kids crowded in the back, which was supposed to be for animals or bags of animal food or bales of straw. Mum and me stood and stared at the new van. It was navy blue, just like Mum's material for her costume for the wedding. Grandma stood with her arms folded, and Auntie Vera, who was Uncle Sid's wife and Terry's mum, laughed and clapped at our new arrival. My mum said, "Well, at least it's a serviceable colour, navy." Now we had a car and a van, and it was decided that Uncle Sid and his family would have the car one weekend and Dad would have the van. Then the next weekend they would swap. At first we all thought we would like our van best, but we soon changed our minds because after a few sheep and pigs had been in the back, it got quite smelly. There was always straw in there and sometimes a bag of corn, and us kids had to squash up, and there were no seats like in our car in the back. We lost interest in our van, and anyway, I had a lot of other things to think about. There was still my new tramp friend who slept in our bales every night, and then there was a business of being a beautiful bridesmaid. Irene soon came back, and I had to stand on our table while she saw what I looked like with my new dress on. Mum hadn't done the hem yet. "Oh," said Irene, "you are going to look lovely." Mum, with a mouthful of pins, started to work on getting the hem the right length. Irene fished in her bag and brought out a decoration for my hair. "It's a tiara," she said. It was bright and sparkling, and I just couldn't wait to get it on my head. I would surely turn from lovely to beautiful when she got that in my hair. But when Irene tried to fix it, it just flopped over, and it went over my eyes and just wouldn't stay upright. Then Mum got some hair grips and tried to put it right, but it was no use. It just flopped over every time. "It's her hair," said Mum. "It's so fine. Why don't I make her a little bonnet, Irene? She could wear that instead, and most of her hair would be covered." Irene agreed, and I must say I was very disappointed at this setback to my plans to be beautiful. "I won't look beautiful. I can't wear Irene's tiara," I wailed, as Dad came in for a mug of tea. But he just had no time at all for this fussing about with shoes and dresses and tiaras. He had to go to work.